with his personal toilet.
But sinks, toilets, and showers.
Elements of bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements of bathrooms.
We're looking very strongly at sinks and showers.
Elements of bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements of bathrooms.
What on earth is going on with Trump and toilets? Trump's White House toilet would be clogged with documents that Donald Trump was flushing down the toilet. Is this the explanation? Is this the explanation?
Big massive dumps.
Elements of bathrooms.
10 times, 15
Trump was doing this with his personal toilet.
Elements of bathrooms.
and showers.
Big massive dumps.
Elements of bathrooms.
Duty. 10 times, 15 times. Not me,
Elements of bathrooms.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
Elements of bathrooms.
Look at that. 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 That is man predator right there.
What?
Who thinks he's smarter than you?
What?
Who thinks he's smarter than you?
What?
Who thinks he's smarter than you? This is just a statistic. This is just a statistic. This is just a statistic. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Pac-Man's a loser. Pac-Man's a loser. Pac-Man's a loser. Pac-Man's a loser. This is just a statistic. Look at that. This is just a statistic. Look at that. This is just a statistic. Look at that. This is just a statistic. Look at that.
Alex Jones is lying to you. That might come as a shock.
Pac-Man.
What?
Pac-Man.
What?
Pac-Man. This is just a statistic. 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 Jones has fake callers. Jones has fake callers. Jones has fake callers. Jones has fake callers. This is just a statistic. 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 Corporate takeover, censorship, debanking, arrest, tyranny. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Corporate takeover, censorship, debanking, arrest, tyranny. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Corporate takeover, censorship, debanking, arrest, tyranny. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Corporate takeover, censorship, debanking, arrest, tyranny. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Pac-Man's a loser. Look at those eyes, man. That dude, he is gone, ladies and gentlemen.
Alex Jones is now very, very upset with me.
Look at that. That is a frickin' predator right there. Who thinks he's smarter than you, thinks he's better than you, and he's gonna beat you. Pac-Man never talked to the New World Order, because Pac-Man's a loser. Pac-Man's a loser. He's not a knight at the round table.
That's true. I'm not a knight at the round. That actually is accurate.
That dude is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Pac-Man. If I was telling my children who not to be, it's Pac-Man. Pac-Man's a loser. Smarter than you, thinks he's better than you, and he's gonna beat you. The evil's growing, it's coming. What you asked for is now at the door, scratching. So open the door and prepare to meet your destiny. Pac-Man's a loser. Man's a loser. That is a frickin' predator right there. Who thinks he's smarter than you, thinks he's better than you, and he's gonna beat you. Thank your lucky stars every day you're not Dave Pagman. Ooh. Look at those eyes, man. That dude is gone. That is a frickin' predator right there. Who thinks he's smarter than you, thinks he's better than you, and he's gonna beat you, he thinks. Oh, Joe Rogan.
Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
9 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under a Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes? Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11. That sounds good.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down.
Wisconsin crowd identified with the mangoes.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Those who want me to be healthy, healthy. Those who want me to be healthy. It's highway robbery is what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of
Mangoes? Well, what an incredible day for such an introduction. We are here apparently on the precipice of what appears to potentially be looking like the start of the beginning of the early stages of the very first part of. Is that enough disclaimers? The Russian invasion of Ukraine. Earlier today, Vladimir Putin recognized two breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine. At the time, it was said, this is a provocation. This is the creation of a pretext on which to send in troops. And unfortunately, many on the right and some on the left said, no. And now, well, listen, if you recognize those breakaway regions, you've got to keep the peace. Putin orders peacekeepers into eastern Ukraine. Well, I mean, you can't let things get crazy there, right? You've got people there. You've recognized the regions. This was exactly what was predicted hours ago. And fortunately, even some of the people on the left who refuse to see it are starting to come around to it. Now, I don't want war. In fact, I'm very worried about my stonks. If you look at the pre-market, U.S. futures are in a toilet that even 10 to 15 flushes won't help you with.
Elements of bathrooms.
Right. Dow futures already down 1%. S&P down 2%. NASDAQ, or NASDAQ, as Trump used to say, down 3%. I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I don't want my energy to go up. I don't want my supply chain to be slowed down. So this is all horrible, but this is the way that it's going. Russian President Vladimir Putin formally recognized the independence of two Moscow-backed breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine. This was seen as a provocation and possibly part of a pretext to invade. The U.S. and EU swiftly announced sanctions. Now, the areas in question are right here. I don't know what my pronunciation is like here, but the Donetsk region and the Luhansk region. As you can see, Ukraine is bigly, very big. Russia, even bigger. And we're talking about these areas right here. Okay. Now, what Putin has done is he is recognizing the separatists there. And this is, this is not a perfect analogy. It's not a perfect analogy. But this would sort of be like, should I even do an analogy? Because there is no perfect analogy. And this might trigger a lot of people and create unrest among my own audience. I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, listen, it's vaguely, in some extremely vague sense, like if, it's like if Mexico. Exactly. It's like if Mexico said, hey, listen, there are separatists in Texas and Arizona, and we recognize them as legitimate elements of the Mexican state. And then, oh, hold on a second. Oh, my God. We've already got to ban people. Dear God, get the hell off my stream, you people. You're all getting banned. You're all getting. Oh, yeah, let's not even do Mexico. Imagine that the Quebec separatists wanted to be part of the U.S., not their own country, but they wanted to be part of the U.S. And so the U.S. goes, hey, listen, we recognize those separatists as a sort of like state in exile. And so now, I mean, since we recognize them, we're going to send peacekeeping troops to Quebec, right? I mean, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here, guys. Mexico or Quebec, whatever. And again, it's not a perfect analogy. I'm being told that the BBC is now indicating, yep, the BBC is now, here we go, guys. Here we go. We don't even have to look at only the Jerusalem Post. Here we have BBC. Putin orders troops into eastern Ukraine. It appears to be starting. Several airlines are suspending flights to Ukraine over invasion fears. It appears to be getting going. It appears to be getting going, and not what we want to see, even in the slightest. Even in the slightest. I have so many things to look at here, and people, endless people texting me updates about what's going on. Okay, BBC, friend letting me know about that. Now, I do think that it's important here to mention that when people say insane things about this situation, they should be correctly criticized. But when they admit their mistakes, then we should say, hey, that's a great thing that you admitted your mistake. Let me give you an example. Here is a recent tweet from Hassan, who says earlier, it's Monday, and it seems like Russia still hasn't invaded Ukraine, as all the high-level intelligence suggested. Maybe this week, hope not. Anyway, lots to talk about. And then here is Hassan just 54 minutes ago. How dare I? 54 minutes ago saying, I was wrong. I was wrong. The Russian recognition of eastern Ukrainian territories as independent and the subsequent Russian troop activity into said regions for, quote, peacekeeping is 100% an aggressive escalation that absolutely moves away from diplomatic talks. That's Hassan. And as you can see, I popped in and said, yes, correct. Correct. And a lot of people respectfully addressing me as sir. That's David Sir. Glad it's all being kept very, very professional. Professional there. Okay, here's a drawing of Hassan. Very good. Now, that's an example of someone who corrected their mistake. Okay?
And we will ban men.
Here's an example of a different type of grifter. This is Glenn Greenwald, and look at him go. This is the moment when U.S. journalists really get to shine. They put on their toughest war rhetoric, tell Americans about the virtues of sacrifice, and summon the courage to all unite and denounce Putin and assure everyone all the blame lies with him and him alone. It's inspiring. So this is Glenn Greenwald's thing of how everybody wants war. Now, if any of you have been watching this channel for like the last 3 weeks, the number one thing has been, no, I don't want war. Yes, Putin is the aggressor. Yes, Putin is doing exactly what we expected. He's first saying, hey, we recognize some of those breakaway regions with separatists. Oh, we got to keep them safe. Let's send in peacekeeping troops. It's happening right now before our very eyes. The UN is live right now. Let's listen and see what's happening.
These special procedures and the UPR can powerfully contribute to concrete solutions on prevention, protection, and sustaining peace and development. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the ambassador of Djibouti for his statement, and I have the pleasure of giving the floor to the representative of Fiji. Mr. Ambassador, you have the floor.
This may or may not be about what's going on in Ukraine right now.
Thank you, Vice President. My delegation aligns its statement to the one delivered by Chair of Group of 77 plus China, and that delivered by Singapore on behalf of a group of countries.
Okay, they may not be doing Ukraine-Russia stuff right now. We're going to monitor that extremely strongly and very, very closely. Okay, let's continue. I do want to make sure I don't forget anybody. I want to say thanks to N Neptune, that crazy guy, Jen here, and a user who goes by the name Thick Nips, who have signed up all via Twitch and Twitch Prime, including some gifts, putting us at 5. I do want to let you know we have a new exclusive coupon code today. It's called Please Don't War. And I know that grammatically it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think that makes it interesting. And it's Please Don't War, all one word, all lowercase. I think I have it here somewhere. Let's see if I can test it. This is such an explosive coupon code. It could actually completely diffuse what's happening in Russia, Ukraine. Please don't war. Okay? And then an extremely powerful discount, as you can see there. Okay? You can still use the code Obama if you want. Obama! But the new code, Please Don't War, will do things a lot of people didn't even think possible. Okay, now, I don't know how many of you speak Russian. I don't. I am told that in this video, there is a German operative saying at 4 a.m. tonight, Russia time, which is 2 hours and 12 minutes from now, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes from now, no matter where you are. Okay? There will be Russia becoming great, which some believe is basically indicating, this was from December, that this has been planned for a while. Let's listen. If somebody can translate, please.
Отказывайтесь, тогда мы можем принять другую программу. А какую вы почувствуете? 4 часа
Did he say ultragram? I don't know what that is.
утра 22 февраля. Я бы хотел, чтобы 22 год был бы годом мирным, но я люблю правду. 75 лет говорю правду. Это будет год не мирный. Это будет год, когда, наконец, Россия станет снова великой страной, и все должны заткнуться и уважать нашу страну. Иначе они нам заткнут рот и будут истреблять русских сперва в Донбассе, а потом в Западной России. Поэтому давайте в этом плане поддержим новые направления во внешней политике России.
Okay, I don't know what on earth he's saying, but I am told that, oh, wait a second, hold on. The February 22nd thing is a World War II reference. Okay. But 4 a.m. on February 22nd? Levy Rosman could translate. I think we do need Levy. All right. Well, listen. Some people pointing to that. So we're going to look at that as well. Here's the region that we are focusing in on. And we are monitoring a number of different feeds. This is live now from Fox. Putin declares independence for parts of Ukraine. Nice of him to do it, right? To give independence to parts of a different country. We are monitoring a feed from Kyiv, Ukraine, and things look calm there. We are monitoring another feed from Maidan Square in Kyiv, Ukraine. And this is... This seems to be equipment of some kind. I actually don't know what this is. Looks like people doing tool work of different kinds, but all things that we are watching extremely closely. We have a bunch of different super chats coming in. Fat Produce says, as much as I hate to say it, it seems more and more that war with Russia is the only way to stop Putin. I don't want war, but it seems pretty clear. I refuse to accept that at this point in time. David, sir, will you correct your past mistake of exposing folks to criminal liability through the use of your coupon codes? Yes, I'm going to try to correct that. Absolutely the case. Yeah, I can't really share links to all this stuff right now because there's just so much going on. Let's take a look at what's happening on CNN. CNN appearing to be in some kind of commercial break. Okay. A couple of other things while I have you here. I do want to mention that this weekend is CPAC in Florida. Actually, oh no, they're holding it in Florida, actually. And there's all sorts of wacky speakers. We are going to be live, but look at who is here. This is Tulsi Gabbard, Democratic presidential candidate, who will be speaking at CPAC. Now, I'm ready for all of you guys who fell for the Tulsi thing to say, we were duped. We were duped. There was nothing left wing about Tulsi. As you can see here, this is Matt Schlapp announcing it. Tulsi Gabbard, 2020 presidential candidate and former congresswoman. Really? What party was she from? That would be very interesting to know. I wonder, was she a Republican or a Democrat? I just don't remember. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the whole Tulsi thing. But, you know, there's all these people who, if you hear someone say regime change and endless wars, you're like, oh my goodness, this is my hero, with applying no critical thinking whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely and completely pathetic what's going on with Tulsi, but she will be at CPAC. We will be live with CPAC, live. So it's going to be a very busy week of streams. It appears as though the invasion of Ukraine is starting. Multiple reports, including from BBC, that Vladimir Putin has ordered troops into eastern Ukraine. If people have other live feeds that we should be monitoring, please let me know. Please let me know, because we do want to get to those. But every indication that that's the case. We'll then have CPAC. On Monday, I will deliver the State of the Show address. On Tuesday, next Tuesday, Joe Biden's delivering the State of the Union address. So it is just a crazy week here of stuff that we will be covering. And again, monitoring many feeds here. Let's listen to what Fox Now is covering.
Completely destroy that even possibility.
I'm not quite sure who was advising President Biden on this, but there's a little term which really doesn't mean that much in English, but it means a lot in Russian. In what President Biden said was, "We are agreeing to a summit in principle," and then he added, "if they don't invade." Okay, all right. When you in Russia, if you say "in principle," it has kind of the same meaning that "inshallah" has in the Middle East, which is if God wills it. It's another way to politely say probably ain't going to happen.
Got it.
And so when he said that, it was diplomatic speak. But on the other hand, for Russians and certainly for Putin, he knows exactly what that means, which is it's probably not going to happen. And I would say after this speech that he just gave, it's almost assured that it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, we do know that he had a phone call with Zelensky.
Okay, yeah. So let's actually get to that. Let me see where I've got so many windows open. Okay, there's a live Reddit thing, which is pretty good. And it's just like, there's a lot of, it's sort of a compilation of what's going on. So let's take a look at a little bit of thing here. In a conference call with reporters on responding to Putin and what comes next, a senior administration official suggested Russian troops in Donetsk and Luhansk alone may not warrant the swift and severe sanctions the administration has been previewing. Okay. Ukraine has requested an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council due to Russia's illegal actions. We have already sent the request to the council. Russia's recognition of two separatist territories is a violation of international law, Ukraine's territorial integrity, and the Minsk Agreement. Russia's propaganda convinces no one. Australia continues to work with partners to ensure severe costs for Russia's aggression. Former Ukrainian President Yushchenko was poisoned with a lab-made toxin during the 2004 election. Rumors are being spread that all the top Ukrainian politicians and former leaders, including my husband, have abandoned Ukraine. This is not true. This stuff is happening constantly. I would like to... Okay, here's the readout of Biden's call with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Biden spoke with Zelensky to reaffirm the commitment of the U.S. to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Biden strongly condemned Russian President Putin's decision to purportedly recognize the, quote, independence of the DNR and LNR regions of Ukraine. He updated President Zelensky on the state's response, including our plan to issue sanctions. Biden reiterated that the U.S. would respond swiftly and decisively in lockstep with its allies and partners to further Russian aggression against Ukraine. And the question now is becoming, is this enough? Is this enough to warrant that swift response that has been threatened and that so many are talking about? And the answer is we don't know yet. We don't know yet. Yeah, we're going to get back to CNN here in a moment. Let me see what's on people's minds. Denver says, our only hope is to send Whitney as our star diplomat to broker peace. Yeah, Whitney had a field day this weekend, calling me all weekend. Here's just one call she made.
So I recently stopped smoking medical marijuana because I heard it might possibly kill you. Also, they're saying that like people who might have like a small chance or a larger chance of having multiple personality disorder, that when they smoke weed, it's like ×5.
Right. I believe that if we sent in Whitney for a summit with Putin, there would be no war because Putin would lose his mind and just abandon everything and say, I've given up on life. I can't deal with this. I actually think it's a very interesting idea to look at sending Whitney in. I do want to say thank you to Malfunction 99. Oh, wait a second. We've got news here. Zelensky planning an announcement. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's major stuff happening here. Let me see if I can get Zelensky's Twitter. We've got breaking news here. Twitter.com. Zelensky. UA. Okay, let's see. This is all happening in real time, guys. I should really be following him. Okay. So most of this is not in English, but here it is. After the NSDC. What's NSDC? Anybody know what NSDC is? We don't know. Anybody? Is that the National Security Defense Council? Okay. Discuss the current situation with Boris. Now we are urgently preparing an address, and after that, talks with EU CO President Charles Michel, President of the European Council, and Erdogan. Pulling in Erdogan now. Yes, Zelensky will be giving a speech tonight. Now, bear in mind that in Russia, it's 2 a.m. right now. Maybe 1 a.m. in Ukraine. I don't know if Ukraine is an hour earlier than Russia. So this imminently, we could be seeing that, and we're going to be monitoring that closely. Okay, let's call their bluff if it's a bluff and then decide what to do next, says Mart Fillion. All right, well, that's one approach for sure. A thank you to Malfunction 99, Blueberry Babe for gifting and signing up, Canfeldas, as well as 90s NBA fan, Critical Heels, all of whom are supporting us via Twitch. I appreciate that. It is a rapidly evolving day here. I also want to say thank you on my website. So many people signing up with the new coupon code. Please don't war. Please don't war. Let's see if Wolf Blitzer has news for us. Here it is.
Into separatist-held areas of Ukraine. He claims they're on a so-called peacekeeping mission in regions he just declared as independent. The U.S. and its allies are scrambling to respond to Putin's provocation and fears that the war they've been trying to prevent may now become a reality. CNN is on the scene in Russia, in Ukraine, and here in the U.S. as we cover this major breaking story.
Let's see what's happening.
We want to welcome our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. This is a Situation Room special report.
Well, it is 2 a.m. in Russia, but things do not seem to be slowing down here, folks.
CNN breaking news.
And let's get right to the breaking news on Vladimir Putin ordering so-called peacekeeping forces into separatist-held parts of Ukraine. Our chief international correspondent, Clarissa Ward, is in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv for us. Clarissa, Russian troops could be arriving in Ukraine very, very soon.
Oh, it is 1 a.m. in Ukraine. Okay.
That's right, Wolf. And President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to address the nation sometime in the next hour. His foreign minister, Dmytro Kuleba, has also tweeted that he has requested an immediate, urgent UN Security Council.
I guess they're staying up all night.
Deal with this issue as everyone tries to grapple with how to respond with this fast-breaking story. Essentially, what we know, according to this decree, this sort of friendship agreement between Russia and the independent, or they would argue, independent republics of Donetsk and Lugansk. They have a 10-year mutually binding security decree, which allows and invites Russia in to protect borders, to offer defense, and to offer also financial and economic support. That could start to unfold any moment now. We could start to see Russian troops pouring across that border or trickling across that border. We simply don't know exactly what to expect yet. There have already been a number of reports popping up on social media, none of which we have been able to confirm. But the real concern here becomes, Wolf, does this constitute an invasion? Of course, Russia will try to frame this within the narrative that they have set out now, saying these are independent republics requesting our help. But that is, of course, not going to be the understanding of this by the international community, and certainly not by the government here in Kyiv. But it remains to be seen how exactly they will respond, because obviously there's a very real concern that if they respond with force of any kind, that could ignite and escalate an even worse military conflict, Wolf.
Clarissa, I want you to stand by. We'll be back to you in a moment. But right now, I want to go to the White House. Our chief White House correspondent, Caitlin Collins, is getting new information for us. Caitlin, what are you picking up on as far as the Biden administration's response to Putin?
Well, we have seen President Biden sign this executive order imposing limited economic sanctions on these two territories that Putin is describing as independent now. Nothing on Russia directly or Putin yet. This is not triggering the unleashing of that full sanctions package that the White House has been talking about for some time now, saying that that's what would happen and that is what they would do in coordination with allies if this full-scale invasion were to occur. And a senior administration official who just briefed reporters described that as saying, because Russia has had forces in this area since 2014, they don't consider this to be a new step. Though, of course, you are seeing the changes that have been made today with the steps that Putin took, which the White House has described previously as would be in violation of these international agreements. Now, they say there is more to come. They expect more sanctions activity to happen tomorrow. Officials have not detailed, Wolf, what exactly that would look like or what those steps would be, though, of course, that is something that everyone will be waiting to see what exactly it is. And when it comes to what Clarissa was just saying about these reports of these troops actually going in with the blessing of Putin, the White House says they are going to continue monitoring this over the next several hours and looking at what Putin actually does, not just what he is saying. Though when it comes to what he's saying, they reference that speech that he gave today, of course, that angry diatribe against Ukraine, saying they've never been a true nation in and of themselves. They said that they believed that was a speech to the Russian people to justify a war. And of course, they have been warning about the imminence of an attack here, with Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, saying this morning they believed it could be happening in hours or days. And of course, that's a big question here of whether or not they would use this as a definition of an invasion. It doesn't appear that they are ready to take that step, though they say they will be watching closely to see what it is that Putin does over the next several hours and overnight, Wolf.
We shall see. Caitlin, I want you to stay with us as well. Clarissa Ward is rejoining us from Ukraine. Also with us, CNN contributor Jill Doherty. She's in Moscow, and our Pentagon correspondent, Oren Lieberman. Oren, the U.S. expects Russian troops could move into the Donbas region of Ukraine as soon as tonight or tomorrow morning. Are we seeing the start of what could be the biggest war in Europe, potentially, since World War II?
It's certainly possible, and that is the fear not only here in the Pentagon, but throughout the U.S. government and, of course, many European officials with that exact same fear. I spoke with one official who said this was the play they expected from Vladimir Putin, and it's when they expected it. Now the question is, where does this go from here? It's clear that many believe this is the justification he's using to create the reasoning for an invasion. It's worth remembering, you don't need 190,000 troops to declare that you've recognized two parts of eastern Ukraine as independent. You need that level of troops if not only you're going to destroy Ukraine's military, but also even go beyond that for a full-scale invasion. It was Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin who said over the weekend that the possibility of Russian tanks rolling into Kyiv is highly likely. And that's not just an opinion of the Defense Secretary. That's the fear here, that Putin will go all out here in his attempt for regime change and control over Ukraine.
Yeah, it's an enormous fear that's growing and growing. Jill, you're there in Moscow. How do you interpret these moves from Putin, the dramatic announcement today? Just how dangerous is this situation?
I think it's dangerous because it's incremental and you can kind of break it into little pieces, very carefully choreographed. You know, let's go back a few days ago. The Duma, the lower house of parliament, says, Mr. President, please recognize these regions. President Putin sits down with his Security Council, usually behind doors, this time in front of the cameras. They debate it, they discuss it, then he makes the decision, then he has that dramatic speech. And the chilling point to me was when he said, any further bloodshed will be on the conscience of the Ukrainian regime. And then...
So listen, guys, we're going to continue monitoring and following this. We're banning all, like somebody just came in and said, oh God, women are giving opinions. You're just banned for life, guys. It's just, we're not going to tolerate even an iota of it. It's just toxic. Go, you know, go find some other channel. I'm sure that they would welcome you on a whole bunch of other channels where that counts as funny. Don't even bother requesting an unban. Okay. Just don't even waste your time. If you're just joining us, the big news today is that in a sort of two-part move. First, Vladimir Putin recognized two regions that contain separatists in Ukraine. Two regions. Those regions are Donetsk and Luhansk. I know my pronunciations are a disaster. These two regions right here. Then, on the basis that those are now legitimate separatists, Putin is ordering troops into those regions in order to keep them safe. They're calling them peacekeeping regions. And that is what is being discussed here on CNN. And this could very quickly escalate. We are also expecting to hear from the Ukrainian president. Mind you, it's 1 a.m. in Ukraine. It's 2 a.m. in Moscow. What are Russia's time? Is all of Russia's not on one time zone, is it? Russian time zones. That would be insane. No, it's not. Russia looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 time zones. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. in Moscow. It's already tomorrow morning out to the east. I believe it's China that has everything in one time zone, isn't it? China time zones? No, even China now has a few time zones. Okay, in any case, it's 2 a.m. in Moscow, not 2 a.m. in Russia, generally speaking. But this is what is going on right now. Before I fall further behind, I know many of you are appreciative of the coverage and are sending your thanks. I want to say thank you to Hell Muffin, Hippie Chick, and Brotherhood of Steel for the Twitch subscriptions. Also over on our website, and I apologize, I haven't thanked anybody. Here we go. Justin Bennett just signed up with our coupon code. Please don't war. Beans Bag of Donuts has signed up on my website. Richard Diaz Tamargo is a new member. Ryan Meckin has signed up. Joshua Bullard and Tim Haskins are new members. And also thank you to Jason Howe, who has also signed up. The coupon code is please don't war. We don't want a war. We are not imperialists or whatever it is Alex Jones says. Globalist, internationalist, Trotskyite socialists, unlike Obama, Trudeau, Macron, and the rest of these Zio beasts.
Pac-Man's a loser.
Exactly. None of that stuff is going on here. We're just monitoring what is taking place. It looks like the UN has broken for the time being. We have been casually monitoring what's going on with stonk futures, and they are down. We have a very, very good apology from Hassan Piker, who says his take earlier was completely wrong. It's great to see that, and Hassan coming around on that. And as you can see, I jumped right in and congratulated him on coming around to the correct take. Glenn Greenwald is going, Glenn Grift Greenwald, I think. GGG is the right nickname there. We already talked about that. And then we are monitoring a number of different feeds. Let's listen here.
A joint session of the Foreign Affairs Council with Ukrainian partners in Kyiv. I want to confirm that our embassies and diplomatic missions remain open and fully operational, with the single exception of one country. All others remain at Kyiv. Their embassies are there, open and operational, 26 plus the European Union delegation. It will be soon 8 years since Russia invaded and illegally annexed Crimea.
Yes.
And I want to repeat once again that any further aggressions against Ukraine will have a strong answer from the European Union. But I want to add that this will also apply to Belarus. Should an attack be conducted from its territory or with its involvement? Belarus is being dragged into the crisis. Is losing its...
Hey, guys, am I crazy for being against invasions and annexations? Like, is it crazy that that's my position?
Nuclear neutrality is in a process of satellisation with respect to Russia. Now it's up to Russia, to the Russian leadership, to decide how they want to be seen by the international community and by history. On Bosnia and Herzegovina, we discussed about how to preserve the sovereignty, the territorial integrity, and the unity of the country. We have urged political leaders to take responsibility to preserve the Constitution, ensure full return to state institutions, and it will open issues. There is no place in Europe for a divided Bosnia and Herzegovina, and those who work in this direction are strongly wrong. They are depriving their people of a prosperous European perspective on life. The ministers expressed their full support to the European Union Special Representative, the European Union Force Althea, and to the High Representative Smith, and to the efforts of facilitation that we are deploying from the External Action Service under my direction.
Okay, we have more breaking news here following what is going on. Reuters can now report that Ukrainian soldiers are reporting frontline shelling. Frontline shelling. Oh man, this is not the best. This is okay, Reuters. Ukrainian soldiers report intensified frontline shelling and fear provocations. Government troops in frontline trenches in Ukraine's east said on Monday heavy weapons fired from Russian-backed separatists had intensified to provoke all-out conflict. So imagine the separatists escalate, Putin recognizes the separatists, and then says, we've got to go in and keep the peace because the separatists are now involved in scuffles and kerfuffles. Ukrainian troops have battled Russian-backed forces in Donetsk and Luhansk regions bordering Russia since 2014. Estimate is 15,000 people have been killed. Ceasefire in 2015 staunched the worst fighting, but shelling has intensified along the line of contact since last week. Western governments have accused the Kremlin of preparing to fabricate a pretext for a military offensive into Ukraine by blaming Kyiv for attacks and relying on pleas for help from separatist proxies. In the last few days, it has become very hot here. They shoot at us everywhere along the front with heavy mortars. It has become much more dangerous. It's probably to provoke us so that we answer their fire. And they might, I'm guessing here, want to provoke us into a full-blown war. Russia denies any such plan, but has threatened unspecified military technical action, elements of technical, unless it receives sweeping security guarantees and a promise that Ukraine will never join NATO. Seems like the ship has sailed on that. Okay. Oh, man. U.S. is moving its Ukraine embassy staff out of the country and into Poland. They may return tomorrow if there's no invasion. Interfax News, the equivalent of AP in Russia, reports 2 columns of armored vehicles inside the DPR. Guys, there's every indication that they're moving in and that they're moving in very strongly. Christopher JM on Twitter. Okay, let me get to that in a moment. We're all trying to synthesize the information that's coming in. We'll get to Christopher Miller in a moment. Google Translate. A large number of armored vehicles were seen on the territory of the, do they say Donetsk? People's Republic. As eyewitnesses told Interfax, 2 columns of armored vehicles are on the territory of the DPR and follow to the north and west. Breaking, U.S. cannot commit to a summit with Putin when it looks like Moscow will take military action. Yeah. So we're going to continue monitoring all of that because things are certainly moving quickly. Oh, let's take a look at what Christopher Miller is saying on Twitter. I'm being pointed in that direction. Christopher Miller, correspondent for BuzzFeed News. I'm going to follow Christopher. Let's see what the latest is. Putin has officially ordered troops into eastern Ukraine. Using false and unproven reports as justification, Putin ordered Russian troops in, calling it a peacekeeping mission. Okay, we've got that. Seems like there's not too much additional. The Interfax translated thing on a number of armored vehicles. Yeah, there's every indication that they're moving in. It's just what it seems like right now. Let's listen.
This is not a peacekeeping operation, and we need to stop enabling Putin with even the use of that word. These are units of the Russian military who are...
I'm calling it a, quote, peacekeeping operation. Is that clear enough?
Sovereign territory of Ukraine to further that occupation and to expand it. Right now, Russia's surrogates and Russian troops occupy about a third of Donetsk and Luhansk. What he proposes to do immediately is to extend that to the remaining 2/3. That is an invasion by any sense of the imagination.
Well, what do you think the U.S. should do about that? If you regard that,
let's see how warmongering this guy is.
Invasion. What should the U.S. do?
There are 3 immediate things we should do. We should impose some of the most consequential sanctions ever contemplated by an alliance like ours that will cripple the Russian economy.
Okay.
In virtually every critical sector, making it almost impossible for Russia to function in the modern economy, certainly through the financial sector and through trade, investment, and exports and imports. Secondly, we need to shore up our NATO borders to make it very clear to Putin that we are prepared to protect NATO members from any incursion.
Remember, Ukraine not a NATO member.
And thirdly, we need to help the Ukrainians defend themselves. And that means providing military equipment, training, and the like to help them defend their own territory against the Russians. Remember, there are 41 million Ukrainians, and they have yet to be heard from with this.
So remember that Joe Biden has said U.S. troops will not go to Ukraine, but there's been every expectation, indeed, that there would be more military aid provided. And that seems to be exactly what this Democratic congressman is calling for.
Sent from Russia into eastern Ukraine would constitute a further invasion of the country. Is that a mistake? Should the White House be blunt and say, yes, this is an invasion?
I think the White House gets a lot of credit so far in how it's managed the situation in calling out the disinformation in advance of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's completely legitimate to say that if we, if you, so listen, man, this is a very complicated situation, and it would be very difficult to just kind of like swing on by for 2 minutes and for me to always be able to squeeze everything I think into those 2 minutes. So inevitably things are going to be missing. But I think on the one hand, it is unquestionable to me that Russia is the aggressor here. The argument that, well, toying with Ukraine, maybe being part of NATO, not ruling it out, is aggression. Well, you can say it feels like aggression, but it's not aggression in the way that an invasion is aggression. Number one. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Number two. While that is my belief, I am not ignorant or naive to the fact that if the position of the U.S. is, okay, we're not sending troops, but we're sanctioning Russia economically in a brutal way, which I'm not saying I disagree with. We are shoring up the defense of NATO, which doesn't include Ukraine, but it includes nearby countries, and we're sending Ukraine weapons and training. it's basically a proxy war, right? I mean, like, do people disagree with that assessment? In the chat, let me know. Like, all of those things together, short of sending troops, it's more or less a proxy war. Yes, one that we're in a sense committing to by saying we'll do what NATO, we're part of NATO and all of NATO maybe doing. Like, we're basically saying it's a proxy war, right? Most people seem to be agreeing with me. Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying Putin's good, right? Actually, while we have a break, should I take this opportunity to just remind you guys about a new thing that I'm going to be trying to do? I'm going to try. This is a clip I recorded today where I explain I'm no longer going to explain myself to idiots. I'll just play this for you guys. This isn't publishing for a while, but I recorded it today just to give you guys a sense of my new approach on stuff like this. Okay, listen to this. I want to make a goal of mine publicly known so that you can hold me to it. One of the best ways to actually get something done is to tell other people that you plan to do it. And my goal is to stop explaining myself to idiots. Now you might say, whoa, sir, that's very aggressive language. What do you mean? In order to try to save myself from thousands of horrible comments, tweets, and emails, I will often over-explain things and give disclaimers. And I really am only doing that to people who are just nuts or are bad faith actors. So like when I say, hey guys, in the Russia-Ukraine thing, Putin's the aggressor. But to be clear, I don't support American imperialism. I don't think the U.S. is a perfect actor with an unblemished record of foreign relations. I do not favor the U.S. sending troops to Ukraine. I do not think the U.S. should choose the leaders in other countries. And all of those disclaimers are really for like 5% of my audience. Now, I wish it was like 1% or less, but it is about 5% of the audience. But it's a very loud 5%. It's a very weaponized 5%. But most of you know that I don't mean invade Russia when I say Putin is being the aggressor here. And likewise, when I say, I can't support the former Chavez, now Maduro regime in Venezuela because they've raped and pillaged the country's resources for themselves while spewing false populist rhetoric about how they're going to help everybody. And meanwhile, people can't even afford food, which there are shortages of anyway. I don't mean invade Venezuela. I don't mean assassinate Maduro. I don't mean that the U.S. should pick who is the leader in Venezuela. I only mean I don't like Maduro. 95% of you get that, but the 5% that don't or refuse to are really loud and really annoying. But this isn't normal. This isn't a normal way to talk about things. And this is sadly a toxic reality of the internet. This is kind of like how Twitter works and social media. All these platforms select and highlight reactionaries and outrageous responses to content. Right. I'll give you kind of like a benign example. I post a picture of myself having a cappuccino at a coffee shop in Los Angeles the way I did 2 months ago. This was on Instagram, not Twitter. 99% of the people who see me with my stupid cappuccino say nothing. I never hear from 99% of the people who see that picture. 1% leave a comment. 90% of the comments are completely normal. Weather looks great, have fun, yeah, whatever, okay. Of the comments, okay, so we're talking 10% of the 1%, the people who choose to comment, of those comments, 10%, people go crazy. David, you're traveling during a pandemic? You're so irresponsible. How dare you? People died of COVID today. The other one, you're not wearing a mask, David. You don't care about other people? You're so self-centered that you drink a cappuccino with no mask? And number 3, are you drinking cow's milk? How are you not a vegan? You're a terrible person. It's not normal. And social media really skews this because most people see a guy with a coffee and they move on with their day. But the internet has created this almost defensive status quo for posting anything. And on my show, I'm in this defensive mode whenever I comment on stuff, even though anybody normal or acting in good faith realizes these are not normal reactions and that I'm not saying whatever the worst faith possible interpretation of my words actually is. So my new effort is going to be not to do the disclaimers and the defensiveness when I just give my opinion about things on the show. Because at the end of the day, not only is it preposterous to cater to people who are, quite frankly, nuts or bad faith actors, it also won't stop them from saying the exact same things. I've got an example for you. Look at the comments on my recent Russia clips. In those videos, I say, Putin is the aggressor, but I'm not an imperialist. I don't want war. I don't want U.S. troops there. I don't want U.S. involvement beyond, if NATO as an organization says, well, we're going to support Ukraine in some way. I don't want the U.S. doing regime change. And I look at the video and I see comments like the ones I'm putting up on the screen for you right now. You're just repeating establishment talking points and neocon lies, David. I'm not imperialist, but let's have war. Now, I did the disclaimers and I still got the comment. Next comment. You are an imperialist. No. I explained it. Another comment. Tulsi is a twisted grifter, but you're brazenly lying, warmongering, imperialist trash, David. I'm going to do my best because either way, they're going to say that stuff. Right. So that's the new thing. Okay. Where was it? I don't even know why did I even play that? I don't even know. No, I'm kidding. Hey, John Cipher. John Cipher follows me on Twitter. Let's listen to what he has to say.
The demise of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. And there was one Soviet republic he especially regretted losing.
Okay, so we're not live. What we are standing, in all seriousness, guys, we are standing by for the president of Ukraine. It's now 1:27 a.m. in Kyiv and 2:27 a.m. in Moscow. And we are told the Ukrainian president will soon be speaking. Huge thank you to Manny, the B Dizzle, Andre Bavaria. I really appreciate you guys and your Twitch Prime subscriptions. I really do. Over on my website, I want to say thank you to Aaron Rutherford and Kirsten Bowl, who just signed up at joinpacman.com. We have the Obama coupon code. Obama. We also have a new code. It's unpublished, heretofore unpublished, and the code is please don't war, because we don't want a war. Okay. Super chats. Okay. I already read this one. I guess we have no other super chats right now, right? Sir. Oh, okay. Ryan, sir, would you be open to a discussion or debate with Kyle Kulinski he did with Vaush on this topic? I don't know what. Would you be open to a discussion, debate with Kyle Kulinski he did with Vaush? Am I open to watching the debate? No, I don't care. Guys, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what Kyle thinks about this. I don't watch any shows like mine. I don't even know what I don't even know what we would debate, to be totally honest. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, we're pretty busy over here with our thing. Okay, let's see what else is going on. We do have. Do we have live video? Let me see here. Okay, here's Boris.
So I would encourage people. They will lose out, and I would encourage people to get back to work with confidence. I think we have the right now. We have
okay. This seems mostly to be about COVID, which is okay. We have video in Kyiv. We have other video in Kyiv. And I mean, it is almost the middle of the night, so things seem relatively calm there. But we are monitoring everything that's going on. Let's hear from James Clapper. Not that I find him particularly trustworthy, but let's listen.
With the two so-called People's Republics in the Donbass region, and what worries me is what happens after Ukraine. And I think we've got a real crisis on our hands here.
What do you mean when you say what happens after Ukraine? You think he's ambitious enough to go after other countries in Eastern Europe, including NATO allies?
Well, I wonder. I wouldn't bet my paycheck that he wouldn't do that. I mean, he's not getting a lot of advice from people that are telling him that some of his ideas are bad. He's surrounded by sycophants that are yes men. So he's not getting opposing opinions or opposing views.
It's just hard to imagine, like, okay, so you're telling me Putin has people around him where when Putin goes, hey, listen, Europe gets like 30% of their energy from us. So we got them over a barrel. No one goes, right, but that 30% of their energy is 80% of our revenue. That's bad. No. Does nobody think to say that? Like, literally the sycophants around him are that sycophantic?
Attacking all 30 NATO countries. They are all committed to responding.
That's correct. And this may not take the form of an overt invasion. There are other, as we've seen, there are other forms of attack that Putin could use, notably in the cyber realm. So I think,
yeah, maybe Putin doesn't have any dudes around him, as some are suggesting.
And we will ban men.
Diva says, if we could go back to pre-World War II for a do-over, would we not stop Hitler from invading Poland? Would we not stop? Would we not stop? I don't even know what. I'm not sure I understand fully, Diva, what you mean. Steinar from Norway says, do you think this is the beginning of a Cold War between liberal democracy and authoritarianism? I'm worried the U.S. is going to have a hard time picking a side this time. Yeah, by tomorrow, I expect 40% of Twitter to be supportive of Putin's aggression, for sure. Bayphoto have to wonder if a small reason for Putin's invasion of Ukraine is because Trump didn't fully dismantle NATO. I don't know about that. Alex says, are we going to start calling Moscow mules freedom mules after this? Seems like the natural reaction to this situation. Oh boy. That's above my pay grade, to be perfectly frank. Let's see the latest here. Very, very interesting live thread on Reddit World News. Michelle Nichols says U.S., Britain, France ask for UN Security Council meeting on Monday evening. It is up to Russia as council president to schedule it. UN Security Council to meet publicly at 9 p.m. Eastern. Russian diplomat speaking on the condition of anonymity. A lot is going to happen here. A lot is going to happen here. Uh-oh. Oh, man, I got to start. We're just blocking. Oh, my God. What is happening on Twitch is completely insane. It's just dozens of people having to get banned. Okay, we already looked at that. Fine. So we're continuing to monitor all of these all of these different feeds. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, let's see. Do we want to do? I have so many different things that I was going. So we talked about CPAC. We'll be live with CPAC. Let's just close out some things. So CPAC's going to be insane. Tulsi, the last real liberal, will be speaking at CPAC. We're monitoring Zelensky's Twitter, Christopher Miller with a number of different relevant tweets. Here we go. Let's just get through a couple other things I had. Oh, yeah, this is good. So Walter Masterson, who does these fantastic videos, he was recently at the Ottawa truck convoy. I'm just going to show you guys this week. Walter, turns out he's a fan of the show. He's reached out. We're going to have him on soon, okay? This is really, really good stuff.
Stop the socialist agenda. We need to get rid of these big pharma companies like Pfizer and Moderna. Yeah,
that's right. You know what?
Amazon, we need to get rid of Amazon if we want to stop the socialist.
Taxes are enough. And we don't revolt. We eat poutine. We drink maple syrup.
You guys need to fight for your freedom because there is an underlining agenda that's going on. I don't know how much you know. I'm not going to get into that.
The workers need to unite against socialism. The workers of the world need to unite and seize the means of production and everything.
They're
Thank
all
you.
standing up now.
What do you think are some things we can do to fight the socialist agenda?
Love, truth. We have to hold a line, put our foot on the ground, and say enough is enough.
The real root cause of the socialist agenda is the banks.
Yeah.
The big banks.
Yeah.
The big banks through big pharma, big tech.
Big media.
Big media.
I'm out of here because we're done. If we lose this fight, this country's over. Canada's always been a socialist type of country.
You've been living under socialism for a long time because of the health care.
Well, yeah, because of the health care, and they sneak it in here, they sneak it in there, everybody gets used to it. Now, everybody woke up, like heavily woke up.
What's the socialism like? It's like you want to see a doctor, and then you see a doctor, and then like they don't charge you.
Not that great of a system, guys. I mean, if you had a car accident or your emergency, it's fast.
Because it's a socialist healthcare system. They call it like a triage thing.
Sort of, yeah.
It's what we have in there. It's like, you want to pay to see the doctor, you pay to see the doctor.
Exactly.
So like, I can pay to see the doctor right away.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to wait and do this like socialist triage system like they have in Canada. You think these insurance companies are part of the socialist agenda?
Oh, for sure. 100%. Always the same clicks making the money. You can have cars doing 50 miles at a gallon a long time ago. Trust me, a long time ago.
The automotive industry is definitely part of the socialist agenda.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they're all in bed together. It's all, who pays the bill?
Right.
Us.
Us, the consumer, the taxpayer.
The taxpayer, the middle class. We always get the bill.
Right. So that's Walter Masterson doing a really, really good job. And we're going to get he's going to be on the show soon. We did this. We did that. Oh, here's a full let me just we're monitoring. Okay, CNN's in a break. Okay. This is a full-grown man, okay? Throwing a tantrum and having to be carried around because he just won't put a mask on to go on the ski lift. This is an adult, guys, technically.
Get your hands off.
Look at this guy. It's a literal tantrum, exactly.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're under arrest.
Look at this. Imagine having to be carried around like this as an adult.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
What a humiliation.
Just watch.
Yeah, it is like a kid refusing to nap.
Boys, go back.
Anyway, I won't even play the whole thing because we have so much else going on. That's just completely humiliating. Oh, we did this thing already. Okay, good. I do think we're more or less caught up here as we continue to monitor the situation in a number of different places. And if anybody has any specific streams that we should be looking at, by all means, let me know. And we will do that. But the latest news, if you are just joining us, Putin has recognized 2 regions that have separatists in them in Ukraine, and then subsequently has said, hey, since we recognize them, we've got to make sure that we're keeping the peace there. So we've got to send troops in as well. That is the latest. And there are reports that there are already columns of vehicles that are on their way in. That was reported at what time was that reported at? 37 minutes ago, and expecting imminently a speech from the Ukrainian president. It is 1:39 in the morning in Ukraine and 2:39 in the morning in Moscow, and extraordinarily frustrating situation. Sinsu says 21 was supposed to be better than 20. 22 was supposed to be better than 21. God help us in 2023 if we get there. Understandable feeling. Thank you to Sterling Lana for gifting 2 subs, Droobs and Sir Charles of Bradley. Very much appreciate that. And we are all waiting. To see what will happen if and when. So the important time elements right now are any moment the Ukrainian president Zelensky is expected to speak. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern time, the UN Security Council will be meeting. That's going to be 5 a.m. in Moscow. That's going to be 4 a.m. in Kyiv. But apparently everybody's staying up all night because of what's going on. J Minty Fresh asks via Super Chat, hi, David, how are you? Do you think we're headed towards World War III? If so, do you think attacks on U.S. soil by Russia are imminent? No, attacks on U.S. soil by Russia are not imminent, but we may be heading to the largest war in Europe since World War II. It's just what we could be heading towards. I'm not predicting it, And I'm not saying that I want it. I'm just saying that's what we could be heading towards. A lot of people asking about the timing of the Olympics ending before Putin did this. I can't make anything out of that definitively. I just don't, I have nothing specific to say about it. But yeah, maybe there's something to it. I don't know. Curious what some of you guys think. Let's do a couple of other voicemails here. Let's see.
David Pickman, why do you keep propagandizing about tariffs and slanting for China? And you play the caller. Not only do you repeat this lie, but then you play a caller who agrees with you. You're ignorant on economics. We don't need to be buying Chinese stuff. What's the whole point of Trump's tariffs? Is to encourage more domestic production.
Right. The thing is, it would take years to bring those supply lines, those supply processes to the U.S. at insane cost. And people are complaining about inflation now. Do you know what would happen? I mean, we can do that. It's just a lot of these people who are like, no, Trump's tariffs will just bring everything will be produced domestically. Our economy has been based implicitly and explicitly to some degree on the premise of we prefer cheap stuff from China rather than paying more and making it here. It's a decision that's been made. Now, you didn't make it. No one person made it. But when you look at the totality of trade agreements, employment law, tax, all these different things, over decades, as a country, we've decided we value having stuff be cheaper and giving jobs to people in other countries to make that stuff over manufacturing it here and paying more. That's the decision that's been made cumulatively over time. So to say, well, just tariff everything and make it all here. Sure, take 10, 20 years to reorganize the economy. In the meantime, causing more shortages and more inflation. You can do it. But to pretend that you just tariff China, then suddenly, bing, bang, boom, you make everything here. It's all fine. It doesn't cost any more. Come on, guys. Give me a break. It started in the 80s. That's exactly right. Guys, bring that to somebody else. Come on. Okay, as we stand by here, a couple other voicemails.
Hey, David, it's Eric from Mass. I just watched your conspiratorial video. Great video. I think I figured it out. I think you guys are too trusting and think that whatever anyone tells you on TV is true.
No, I mean, listen, Trump would go on TV and lie all the time. We didn't fall for it. Fox News lies all the time. We don't fall for it. No, Eric from Mass continues to deliver these completely delusional screeds that make no sense to anybody other than himself.
But it's so ridiculous how some of these people march around. And have you seen some of their vessels? They're heinously ugly and they have no money and they have no privilege or power or anything in the world or anything to offer whatsoever. And they're saying Jews will not replace us.
God, we got to send Whitney in to negotiate peace between Russia and Ukraine. I think we'd have it wrapped up immediately. Ron says on the off chance of a Russia-U.S. war, Russia can hit the U.S. mainland with conventional weapons. Yeah, my prediction is Russia's not going to attack the U.S. mainland, okay? I don't know how much I should entertain something that right now I just don't believe is going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. Let's see here.
Hi. I was trying to call the David Pakman show with Joe Walsh. I don't know if you're taking phone calls. What I want to say is the two of you have ignored the real authoritarian dictator.
Yes, Troy, authoritarian. I know. We're ignoring everything. It's quite remarkable.
Here's my question for this moron in his make-believe church, talking about people he wants to expel, calling them witches. I want to know, where are the FBI undercover and informants working on this guy to assassinate him? This guy's worthy of assassination. These kind of people are worthy of assassination.
Okay, that's not I don't endorse assassinating anybody. Oof. Wow, I don't even know that we can stay on the voicemails.
So, Pac-Man, do you ever wonder about, like, if fossils and bones were missing? Like, maybe our ancestors, like, threw away bones and fossils and stuff like that. Like, I was wondering if there was, like, a way in which our ancestors could have, like, destroyed a bunch of evidence about, like, evolution. If there's anything that, like, destroys bones and fossils, like stone, like, is there, like, some tar that, like, has, like, a ginormous hole of tar that you could just, like, throw stuff in, or things, like, could have possibly gotten lost? Cause,
guys, I think I'm having a stroke. Oh my God. What is happening? I don't think I can do it. I just don't think I can do it. It's, man, I don't know.
Hey, David, you're missing out. Actually, you're doing a really good job. Listen, World is One News. They have live feeds in Ukraine, so just want to let you know, brother. Okay.
Let me check that out. See, that's an update I can use.
Force in the Sahel.
Let's see what we've got going. That's an actionable
In 2012,
voicemail.
and since then the country.
World is One News. Is this it? The World is One News. They seem to be covering something different right now, but we will monitor it and standing by for Zelensky's speech. Okay. David, reports of weak sanctions from the U.S. directed only at DPR, LPR. When can we expect heavier sanctions on Russia itself? I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of people are asking that exact question. Although people are catastrophizing, I don't see Russia extending much past Ukraine. Well, no, not past Ukraine. Going further into Ukraine would be bad enough. I agree. David, World War III isn't important. Did you see the new Euphoria episode last night? I don't know what that is. I don't know what Euphoria is. I do want to say thank you to Titan Mars Productions for the Twitch Prime sub. Also, thanks to Toil and Kismar, who has gifted 5. That's a total of 7, putting us at 37. If you are just joining us, please make sure you're signed up at joinpacman.com. Oh, that's one other thing I wanted to say, guys. So, where did it go? I lost it. You know, we're all going to have a grand old time laughing at CPAC this week. We're going to be streaming starting on Thursday. It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be cartoonish. It's going to be, a gong show. We're all going to laugh at CPAC. But I wish the left was as organized as the right, such that we could put together something like CPAC. I mean, the right understands you've got to fund this stuff. That's why the right funds CPAC. They fund Turning Point. They fund Daily Wire. They understand all this stuff. The left doesn't do it. And that's why as cartoon, CPAC's going to be a mess, but they're all going to go and feel great about it and be energized. We have what? Netroots Nation, which is like, it's a huge part of Netroots Nation is like the worst of the left. It's not even, it's bad. So, support something. It doesn't have to be this show. I'd love it if you signed up at joinpacman.com. We have this coupon code Obamna. Sign up for something, right? Let's get something going here. Man, it is something else. Just you playing Whitney and sitting through it is comedy genius. Thanks, Tristan. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Should we allow Cyrillic in the chat? I think we shouldn't. Moderators, we should make a decision. I think we can't allow it because really, I think English and Spanish is what's allowed here. I know we're covering Russia and Ukraine, but I don't really think we can do it. We just don't know what people are saying and anything could be said. I don't think we can do it. So I think moderators, Well, you can't allow it if you can't moderate it. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah.
That is a frickin' predator right there.
And by the way, if you're wondering about the bonus show, Alex Jones hates the bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that as far as I am concerned. Let's see if we have any updates as to the scheduling. Uh-oh, here we go. POTUS has signed an executive order imposing costs because of what Putin did. Let's see. Fact sheet. Executive order to impose costs for Putin's action to recognize so-called Donetsk and Luhansk province people's republics. What did he actually do? The following is banned. New investment in the DNR or LNR. Okay, but hold on a second. Don't we need to punish Russia in its, like, Russia proper? I'm not sure about this. Does this make sense to attack the DNR and the LNR with sanctions? Shouldn't we be attacking the person doing it? Like, are we allowing this? I'm going to have to look at this in more detail, but it's seeming a little bit suspect. All of these things are going right after those regions. The purpose is to deny Russia the chance to profit. Ooh, I don't know about this, guys. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like France is sort of outflanking Biden on this. We're going to have to look at that very closely before tomorrow's show. U.S. officials discussed the Ukrainian president leaving the capital and relocating to Western Ukraine. Okay, the fact that that's a discussion means it's probably very, very real. And the UN Security Council will be meeting tonight. So that's going on. Christopher says Western sanctions on Russia will not hurt the Russians, as the Chinese will offset them. Okay. David, do you believe Trump's campaign to delegitimize NATO and deteriorate U.S. standing across the globe is why Putin is deciding to move now? No, I don't think so. UN Security Council meeting is 9 p. East. 9 p. East tonight. 9 p. East tonight. Okay, and actually on that note, I think I'm going to pause now because it seems like I'm getting a report that it will be at least a little bit until Zelensky speaks and UN Security Council is not meeting until 9. So I think I just may come back and do a second stream tonight. It seems that we're at a bit of a pause here. So let's do that. We have, I think, learned everything we're going to learn in the immediate at this point in time. Kyiv is calm, but we are going to be hearing from the Ukrainian president, and the UN Security Council will meet. That'll be close to morning time in Ukraine and Russia. So I will bid you adieu for the time being. Going to go make a tuna melt. Some of you saw my tweet last night about tuna melt. I am now ready to make the tuna melt, and we will monitor and see you all later today. Thank you.